Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to this Bhakti Sanga Japa newsletter interview. And for this month, we have with our a special guest who is Her Grace Lalitangi Radha Mataji to give her interview for this newsletter for this month. So, before moving on to the interview, I would like to read introduction about Mataji. Her Grace Lalitangi Radha Mataji is an initiated disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. She was introduced to Krishna consciousness in her high school days in Coimbatore, India. During her high school, she attended a Bhagavad Gita contest and won a prize to go to Mayapur and got inspired and took up chanting 16 rounds and later got initiated from His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj in 1995 at Mayapur. Very soon, she started attending the temple programs and became a very enthusiastic youth leader in ISKCON, influencing many souls to seriously take up the path of Krishna consciousness. She is an electronics and communications engineer and worked as a lecturer in CIT and PhD College, Coimbatore, and then with BSNL. During her college days, she was actively serving ISKCON Coimbatore under the guidance of His Holiness Bhakti Vinod Swami Maharaj in outreach programs, temple festivals, college programs, and cultural programs. And Mataji is one of the chief persons responsible for inception for this Bhakti Sanga Japa group. And Mataji conducts Madhava class for teens on Bhakti Sanga and teaches them Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time and association today for this interview. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Anita Mataji. Yeah, I don't know how valuable it is, but whatever little bit we can serve Srila Prabhupada and the movement, we all are trained to be always ready.
So, how are you, Mataji?
Yeah,
by
yes, Mataji, by Krishna's blessings and Guru Maharaj and Prabhupada's blessings, it's going on good. So maybe I'll start with offering prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaham. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, once again. And yeah, as we read in your introduction, we saw that you were inspired from your school days. Can you give that experience, Mataji? In school days means like in high school it's given. Like when it in high school means which grade it was in, and how were your parents at those times?
Yeah, it thanks to ISKCON Coimbatore, who did a class for kids, school children, high school children. So I was in the 11th grade, and they rented a marriage hall. And then they did the session after school every day, 1 hour for 7 days. That was very famously known as Gita test program. So the session was compiled and done by His Grace Atma Tattva Prabhu. So we used to, so many students from different schools in that locality, we all used to get together and listen. And I remember that we had so many questions. I had so many questions. At that time, it was also 1991. So the clashes, Hindu-Muslim clashes were going on, Ram Janmabhoomi, Babri Masjid. And so religion was seen upon with contempt, because basically religion was a tool for extremists to fight with each other. And everybody preferred calling them secular. So I had so many questions, and then when we came to the Bhagavad Gita class, our teacher explained very, very nicely the whole Bhagavad Gita into 7 lessons that even high school children can understand. And all I remember about the class was we were laughing and laughing throughout. It was so much of jokes and things like that. But a lot of questions got answered, and then slowly I started following.
Okay, so that's great, Mataji. That's great. So, do you remember initially what you heard about Gita and where you got impressed? You said you had for 7 days course, but there must be some point where you have got impressed.
Yeah, of course, about the soul and the body concept, which was very nicely described.
Tato Brahma Jinyasa.
Yes, Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavanam jara. And so that was wonderful to see that, to hear that I'm not what I am looking at myself in the mirror every day. And then also that gave the question of what happens after death, because every one of us would have had this question the first time when we happen to hear about somebody's passing away or witnessing somebody's passing away when we were young, very young, maybe 5, 6, 7 years old. We all must have got this question. So similarly, I also remember having this question when I was in the neighborhood. One uh, grandmother passed away of my friend. So I had this question: why? And what happens to the person? Will they cease to exist? And if everybody is going to die, what's the point in living? So all these questions came about. Is there any way that we can escape this? But I had no answers, and all these questions were answered in the class, and also the concept of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So the teacher took 3 students as an example, and was very explaining in a very jovial way what is meant to be in the mode of goodness and passion and ignorance. So I could remember
That's
that.
right. Okay, very, 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 very wonderful, Mataji. So that is the first step which we learn in Bhagavad Gita, right? So about the soul and the body. Yeah, like even in my realization also I have came across that part. So that is a part which I also like most. So and yeah, after knowing this, like about the soul and the body, you must have faced in these so many years. You must have faced. In your relative side or somewhere else, more than far relations, in your close roundup relations, when someone passes away, then how your mentality would be at that time?
So yeah, this happened also few years after I got this knowledge, and unfortunately, my younger cousin brother passed away. So he was like 4 years younger to me. He was around, I think, around maybe um, 16, 15, 16 at that time, and all of us cousins were there together. And then we literally, I mean, found that like we were. Then I shared what I learned from Bhagavad Gita and from the class, that actually he's continuing to exist, and only that he has left this body. And that gave us so much solace. I mean, I can really remember that all of us, the cousins who were around of the same age, around 15 to 20, we had a big relief knowing that that person who's dead is only the body is dead, and he will continue to exist. And we can pray for his good destination. So this way, I can remember that this philosophy has the biggest application. And Bhagavad Gita uh, trains us to see everything in the right perspective in life, and also trains us to act in the right way. So which is very, very rare. We don't get this knowledge and practice and training anywhere else in our material education, right? So it was, I mean, something that we can relate to and something that we can pray for. And recently also during COVID time, I heard His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj said that we can continue to serve a person even after he left the physical realm of us by reading Bhagavad Gita and offering the results to him, to the soul, whoever has departed. So that way our service would continue and they would receive that also. So that was very, very, very much wanted. This knowledge is very much wanted for everyone in this world, and it gives so much solace at the time when we need it the most.
Very nice, Mataji. Yes, of course. Of course, we should have that knowledge. So for me, it will take more number of years to realize that and come to the point. So thanks for that, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
So,
I'm still critically know that I'm still on the path of realizing, but it's so beautiful that even if we theoretically know and start practicing, we can see the result. Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam. So we can see the result.
yes. Okay. So, Mataji, how did you get attracted to Jayapataka Swami Maharaj?
Yeah. So we after there was a Gita test that was the test was given after the class, and they said that the person who comes first would get a free trip to Mayapur. So I think many of the intelligent students did not come appear for the test. So by Krishna's arrangement, I happened to be. I got the first, as the saying goes, that if there is a place with people with no noses, a person with half nose becomes the king. So somehow by hook or crook, I got to Mayapur, and it was so wonderful to see the deities and the spiritual atmosphere there. And then I met Guru Maharaj, Risulna Jayapatak Maharaj, and learned about how he has dedicated his life, although he was born in America in a very opulent surroundings, how he has given up everything and living in a very a meager surrounding in Mayapur and developed all that. So I was thinking it's very huge to do that, and yeah, that was my first interaction. And then the influence of Mayapur Dham and seeing so many devotees in Mangalarti and everyone chanting. So then that inspired me to chant 16 rounds by their mercy.
Hari. So this shows that you had some sukriti that you had to carry out. Like how Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, one who has left it in half, then they will again continue in the next life. So that is there in your life, Mataji. So very nice to hear. So when you went to Mayapur, what was your thought? And yes, you saw even Maharaj also. So did you speak with Maharaj, and what is the instructions that he gave on your first meeting? If you had spoken or Maharaj has spoken, how many of you went to Mayapur? Is it from the school or even outsiders also were allowed with you?
Yeah, so this was a trip organized by the local temple. And so we went like around, I think, 50, 60 devotees, temple residents, plus some Grahastha families like that. So the point is, even if we don't speak with Maharaj is in the crowd also, he would figure out the new face. If somebody is new, Guru Maharaj would figure out. So he actually uh, he used to give laddus after the Guru Puja. And so he talked to me asking, "How are you?" And then he asked my name. And then he asked, "Did you like it here?" I said, "Wow, I mean, it's like being in a spiritual world, right? Mayapur, that surrounding us." Then finally he asked, "Are you happy?" So he called out my name, Lalita. "Are you happy?" So
Wow.
that stands out clearly during that 2-3 days. I mean, we were there for maybe 4-5 days, I think. So it was so wonderful.
Wow. That's really great, Mataji. So on your first meeting itself, Guru Maharaj has identified you. So very nice to hear on that.
Yeah.
And then after meeting Guru Maharaj, how your journey was, Mataji, in Krishna conscious? How was your journey? So
Yeah.
your way of coming into Krishna conscious is through the lecture which you had heard in from your school, right? So, and how about your parents? Yeah, first let me know about that. How were your parents at those time, and they
Yeah.
accepted? What are the difficulties or anything? Anything, if it is so, you had
Yeah.
faced?
So basically, any parent would be scared because that time, I don't know if you all remember, there was one other spiritual group which was active, and in the name of Kalki, I think I remember. And then the
Yes.
ladies also, they shave the head and they go to one ashram and live there like that. It was quite common. So I can imagine my parents' anxiety. So they were very scared and very, I mean, what's happening to my daughter? Where is she going? And they've not heard about ISKCON, anything before. So it was bit tough for them. And maybe I was also so much enthusiastic, young blood, and I was not trained enough to present this properly. I mean, not, I shouldn't say I was not trained enough. I was immature to not to properly present this. So initially it was very hard. But then, over a period of time, they accepted it because seeing the practices of chanting and how we are doing I mean, what we are doing at home and reading Bhagavad Gita and other, they observed for some time, and then also they came to know about that there is no running away in ISKCON for ladies and girls. So they, after they were little. mm um, pacified, they started to accept us going to the temple and doing services and chanting and initiation. It took some time, but it was okay.
So, what do you mean by that some time, Mataji? How much time did it take for them to realize this? And they also came to serve in the temple, Mataji. They were they are also initiated. Or?
No, they are not, but they are favorable. They would even now chant 1 or 2 rounds. So it took maybe 5-6 years for them to understand what is ISKCON. And I mean, at least it's a safe organization, and we are not like a cult. This is a lifelong practice, right? So yeah, took some time, but I'm very grateful for other devotee friends who helped at that time to deal with parents in a same way, respectful way, but at the same time be strong in what we want to do, because we have got this after many lifetimes, this chanting of the holy name and this process. So yeah, they helped me to deal the situation and keep going.
Okay. So, what were the, yeah, of course, devotees, Sangha is very important in these times, so it gives us some energy to continue. So, what were the difficulties that you faced, as you said that? So, since if they are not supporting, then it's really very difficult, Mataji. So, what are the difficulties you faced in your face in that 5-6 years?
Yeah, I mean, um, many times, initially I used to chant undercover because chanting was, I mean, they thought that, see, if you chant, then you then you start drifting away in that, like that. But then later, yeah, they knew that this is going. She's not going to leave it. But anyway, I mean, she's safe, so they were accepting. And in fact, I feel that it is better to be in that situation, because the more the resistance, the more our determination to follow it, with zero resistance and zero enthusiasm. So that time was so nice. I remember the best chanting I did was during those time, because it has to be done in the morning, mostly before everyone gets up, or I had a limited time and I had to do that, and very this thing. So I mean, I had to be on, cannot take the time for granted. So I used to go on top of the house and then sit and chant or go for a walk like that. So I felt that, it's good. Krishna is doing everything for a purpose. Otherwise, a lazy soul like me wouldn't have taken up to the chanting that vigorously and seriously. Yeah.
Okay, so okay, chanting, of course, yes, Mataji, could understand that. So that time, as you said, that chanting would have been intense because you are seeking for some support, right? So when you're not getting support, then the chanting would be very intense at that time. So that concentration will be like, I should finish this now, otherwise I will not get time. So I could understand that. So yeah, so apart from chanting, how about your prasadam and all, Mataji? How was it? You must have found difficulty in that also, right?
Yeah,
Without onion
initially,
garlic.
uh, l- l- I mean, by Krishna's arrangement, I think, like, they were not much using onion and garlic, and they were vegetarian by
Oh,
birth and by tradition, so it was not a problem. And they had a system of offering also, not
okay.
fully, but then at least the rice dal and with a ghee, it was offered every day. My father used to do puja, and one thing I'm grateful is, even before coming to Krishna consciousness, I have always seen my father do puja and um, very religiously involved. Our family's background was, my mother also, grandmother also, taking me to pravachans, to the temple, where there are songs and there are lectures going on, and I used to hang around there like very young, like 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, like that. So I think it was not a problem. There was no much change of the diet, but offering then later. My mother started offering, because I said that, instead of offering only this, we can offer everything. It's like that. So then she would prepare without tasting and other things. So then I started offering also. So it was.
Oh, very nice. Very nice, Mataji. So this is how Krishna's arrangement is. Like how we read in Lilamrita, saying Prabhupada, like each and every step, I could see that Krishna is having something. So that applies for all the devotees also, actually. So that I can see in your life, like how you are saying. So so that was not your difficulty, prasadam eating. So that is the toughest part, which devotees find it difficult to get it out in the house, right?
Right.
So
One thing I wanted to add
concern.
is that when I was in 12th grade, my commitment to ISKCON grew after I read one book, that is
Mm-hmm.
Prabhupada biography.
Oh.
So that was like before the 7 volumes came out. There was one single volume
Mm.
of
Like
Your
how
Ever
we in Veda base.
No, in Veda base we have 7 volumes now, I think. This was a shorter version of that. Now it's called Your Ever Well-Wisher. Previously it used to be Prabhupada biography, like that. And that book, I mean, it was so interesting, so moving, so emotional. I remember I read it in 3 days. And that too in the school. During the thing, I used to keep it inside the desk and read, because I cannot stop reading it. So then I was convinced, okay, see this person, how he has selflessly dedicated himself. He want to do really good to the people. And he's not putting himself as a center of an organization, attracting all attention to him, directly or indirectly, but he wants everyone to get attracted to Krishna for their own benefit. And for that sake, how much risk he has taken, at what old age, and so that's still my favorite book. So I try to read it again and again. We are still reading it in the reading call with a set of devotees now. So
Very
actually,
that's
most of our troubles Prabhupada had single-handedly he experienced himself, and leaving us very less. right? Whatever he has undergone is for all of us together, put together. So,
Yes, Mataji, as you said, yes, of course, most of the trouble he has took for us to have this moment and to relish this moment. And Mataji, okay, so you had all these things, but your prasadam and all was clear. But how did you how did you continue after your 12th in college days? About how was your sadhana in your college days? Did you did you took any classes physically? Means like you went to the temples to serve physically and to take classes, or how was it, Mataji?
yeah, so um, uh, I went to a college that was close to my home only. That's again Krishna's arrangement. So I
Very
needn't have to live in the hostel and other things. So I had continuous prasadam and also service in the temple. So I was introduced through this classes for Bhagavad Gita for school and college children. So then after that, I was immediately asked to take class for the same way. So I continued the next year, started teaching whatever I know, little bit, whatever I learned. And also, we had done 1 year of value education classes in Bharati Vidya Bhavan. They gave that hour to us, to ISKCON, to speak about Bhagavad Gita. And His Holiness Bhakti Vinod Maharaj used to take the classes. And so I also went, and he used to take for 11th and 12th. I think one other Prabhu on 10th, and then for 9th, I was taking the class. So I had this opportunity to listen to him, to take notes, and then the next hour I had to take it to the ninth graders. So,
Okay.
yeah, it was so nice. That's why if children at that age, when they are ready to see the world and they are little independent and they are able to think, if they are given this knowledge, it will save them from so much trouble, right? In the teenagers, with the influence of the college friends and other society and other things. So I'm very grateful for that. um that so Yeah, so I was involved in those classes, and also I was involved in translating the lectures into Tamil. So the lectures was given in Sunday feast lectures, were given in English. So then I used to translate that into Tamil for people who can't understand English. So that way, there was some constant services. Because of that, we could keep in touch with the Shastra, read it, and we are always constantly presenting it. So there are questions from other people, from kids, from so that way, when we teach, we learn it more, right? We are open, we are
Mm.
challenges, we have to answer the questions. So I kept continuing my learning like that, Mataji.
Hari Bol Mataji, that is a very, very wonderful service which you had done, translating the lectures and all. So, yes, of course, when you do that, we will learn more. And also, that's from when it comes from great devotees like Bhakti Vinod Swami Maharaj. So, it's really very blessed. So, then after this, so you were doing all these services, right? So then, how was your sadhana at those times? Were you able to continue, or how did you plan your timings?
Yeah. So Bhakti Vinod Maharaj was very strict. Like, we have to chant 16 rounds. And sometimes I remember when we had some hectic services during Janmashtami, we used to do festivals, Hare Krishna festivals, organize the competitions for kids and all. And one time I told him I had 56 rounds pending over a period of, I think, 3 4 weeks. Then he kept asking me until it became zero. Did you finish your rounds? Did you finish your rounds? So, we are trained, we are like, since somebody is on top of us, chanting and always seeing. And at those days, Guru Maharaj used to do japa workshop. So I remember he personally makes all the devotees sit down in line, in rows, and he will chant. We will all chant 1 or 2 rounds, and he will go and hear each and every person and note down. this happened so much in the late 90s, 97 to 2000s. So Guru Maharaj was particular that we chant our japa properly, distinctly pronouncing, not swallowing the mantra. Then after hearing everybody chant, then he would exactly note down and give a feedback also that you were swallowing that hare hare, or you are a little fast, and like that. And after that, some of the devotees were trained from Guru Maharaj, and they used to do that. So this way, there was like a reformation of japa, because our chanting is our main thing, the stem or root or anything of our spiritual growth. Uh, yeah. So we learned from all this, like how important it is to not only finish the quantity, but to do it with quality. I mean, always aspire every day, like Vaisheshika Prabhu's thing, always best service, always better service, right? So every day we can pray to the holy name to chant more nicely. So like that. So because of that, I knew the importance of chanting, and then but I couldn't do all the 16 rounds in the morning during my college days or my work days, but I split between morning and evening. But we finished it. I used to do 8 rounds and also read Bhagavatam before going to college, and that was a real solid foundation for me when I finished at least a few rounds, 8 rounds, and then read half an hour of Bhagavatam, first canto, second canto. So very grateful to Prabhupada, because if we start the day like
Wonderful,
this,
Mataji.
then we can handle whatever comes during the day. We are prepared for the fight.
Okay, so if you have to complete all, what time your college starts and what time you wake up? If you have to complete all
I
this.
yeah, I mean, other devotee friends and others, like, we all used there at that time, there was no cell phone also. It was just coming up 97, 98, but we all talk among each other. I am not a very early riser, maybe at 5. I got up at 5, and then I did maybe first cleaned up and first did chanting, because if I take a shower, then that will wake up everyone else. So that was going on for some time. Then later, by devotees' guidance,
One,
then we did some little bit of arati and chanting and reading the whole morning program, whatever we could do.
that's really great, Mataji. Very,
And
very
also,
inspiring.
Mataji, yeah, and also one devotee told me that when we read after we chant, it's so nice, because
Yes.
we are already in touch with the holy name. We finished our 16 rounds. Then at that time, when we read like 5-10 minutes, um, it's a best reading. Everything gets into the head like that. So that was my experience also.
Very, very inspiring, Mataji. Thank you for sharing that. I will also try to implement that.
Yeah,
So,
to all the devotees, Mataji. It's all devotee Sangha that we are, growing in devotional life.
so okay.
And like I can understand 80% of it when they speak.
Oh, okay.
You'll be forced to if you go to any such Latin countries, because there's no way. There was not even a Bhagavad Gita available in English. So everything is in Spanish. So we hear for classes and interactions, and I learned a lot with those devotees also, how their lifestyle is, what their background is, and how they're dedicated they are, how they are doing, with so much service attitude, um, like that. Yeah.
Nice, Mataji. So I would like to know from you, like you were saying that Prabhuji, if in a marriage, Prabhuji or Mataji, either of these spouse, if they are not supportive, then how they can handle the situation. So this is for the benefit of everyone who is in this situation. So I just want to hear from you, since you are giving counseling also. So it will be helpful.
Yeah. So basically, it's three things: patience, patience, and patience.
That is the three thing, Mataji.
Because you see, Krishna consciousness should build relationship, it shouldn't break. So we should also empathize from their viewpoint. Like if the spouse who's practicing is trying to see from the viewpoint of the spouse who's not practicing, then there are so many things that can be worked out, that can be done a little differently, that can be done so that, so much conflicts can be avoided. There are some things that is non-negotiable. For example, for an initiated spouse to chant 16 rounds and follow 4 regulative principles, right? So that can be done. And sometimes we may have to compromise on some things, like, I mean, so many things, like some prasad, you can take. And after this, this was after this, he took the prasadam. And after 3-4 days, he said that, okay, I decided something, that I would like to husband or wife. So it's better, if we can, uh, like Guru Maharaj says, that we pacify the ego, male ego, especially if it's a female person. Guru Maharaj used to tell this, that the Mataji can say, oh, I'm very foolish, I don't understand what is there in this book written, Bhagavad Gita. Can you please read it and explain to me? So then he says, oh wow, yeah, I should read and explain to you, you don't know. And then he starts reading like that. So Guru Maharaj says this very, very often. So like that, to acknowledge their position, to pacify their ego, and then to, slowly, like, pull them into the association. And even after in the association, they may not take on. It may take some years. So it's a slow process with patience, with lot of love. And in the meanwhile, we also shouldn't, let go of our enthusiasm. And, otherwise, we also should not let go of our enthusiasm and association, devotee association especially. Otherwise, we will also be lost. So we should be, whoever is practicing should be keeping in association very importantly, and chant 16 rounds, pray to the Lord, and to Tulsi Devi for the blessings, pray to all the Vaishnavas for the blessings, and also be little uh, nice to them, what they like to do, like understanding that, and trick them into association. So that's a first fall, tricking into the association of Bhakti Vriksha or something. I have one Mataji whose husband was also very much against that, hardly she could chant and all. Then the husband was into cricket so much. And he got into touch with one devotee who plays cricket too. So with that Prabhu's association, he could gel very well. So first he went only to play cricket with that Prabhu. Then slowly that Prabhu asked him to come to Bhakti Vriksha. And then in a period of 4 years, he was also initiated. Both of them are now second initiated.
Okay, so that's really wonderful, Mataji. So, as you said, the patience, we should have the tolerance and the patience, and we should satisfy their ego. So, all those things are there. So, I hope it's very helpful for the devotees who will be watching this. Thank you for sharing that, Mataji. And what about the youths, Mataji? You are taking youth classes also. So, how their mindset is? Initially, they won't come, right? So, like if you say, like as I said, if it is like around when they are in grade 7 or grade 6, then okay, it's fine for them to come. So, but after grade 8, maybe they are in teens, and so that is really a very difficult stage to bring them. So, what would you recommend for them,
Yeah.
for the
So,
parents?
right. Yeah. So, I mean, I am so grateful that I came during the youth. So if we could give this knowledge to people before their college and other things, they would, it'll be very much helpful to them. If you see so many devotees history, Radheshyam Prabhu, Gauranga Prabhu, And many stalwarts in ISKCON, they have come during their youth and college days. And they were very strong in following, and then they led a whole team. So we can, that's why I like to outreach to youth and ask, basically they have so many questions, and that questions have to be answered. They have so many doubts and questions like that. And also with practice, it's a little it's very hard for a youth to sit in the class like a 1 hour lecture and hear that. So that's why we have more hands-on assignments, something they can do like group discussions, and they can come up and they can present the project. And also recently I heard from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu that we give them responsibility to do something like organize events, um, book distribution, organize events in ISKCON and also for ISKCON outside, in their college, like Bhakti Yoga Club, like that. If they're given something to do, that's the time, when so much physical activity is going on and they always want to do something. That way we can engage them after 13, 14, like that.
Yeah, very, very true, Mataji, because they are like always active, right? So youth in these ages, especially after 14 years, they are really very active. They want to do something or the other. So as you said, this will be a very helpful for them. So when we assign them to some activity, then they are really very comfortable with that, and they will do it well also. So thank you for sharing that, Mataji.
Right. This also, we are all learning from youth preachers like Chaitanya Charan Prabhu and others. Right.
So yeah, so thank you so much, Mataji, once again. Yes, Mataji. How did you come in contact with Bhakti Sanga, Mataji?
Yeah. So, before that, this was in 2013 when we moved here. Then I have in Charlotte. Then I came to know that there is a Sangha that's a online. It was in free conference call platform, and it's going on. So previously, we didn't have much online. It was not like YouTube was so famous and there's live Facebook and all. Something was coming, but mostly, even in my days, we had to go to the temple to attend the class or hear some recordings. So this was something like, a gulab jamun and rasagulla for me. For a weary soul where there is no association, you just log into free conference call, and there is some devotee giving lecture, and after that there is question and answer also. So it was so nourishing. Like every day we don't need to go out of our home, we don't need to even stop doing things that we are doing. But see, Krishna's arrangement, just being on mute, we can soak up that. So that's so nice. Like that's such a blessing to be able to get this association, especially for people who are not close to living into the temple or cannot have Bhakti Vriksha, where we can meet devotees. This is a very good platform. So I was so grateful for that, and I started attending every day. It was, I think, the first canto was going on at that time, or they had just started. Then, like that, then we started the mid morning. Mid morning was also going on. Then, Chaitanya Charitamrita was started in that, and then Bhagavatam was continued in the morning, and so many speakers. So many years. I'm very, very grateful to Bhakti Sangha, this platform. I'm not doing much, but there are so many devotees like yourself, Preeti Mataji, Vinita Mataji, and so many others. So I'm not able to name everyone, but all of them are running this so that we get association of devotees from the place where we are. So so this is something, this is like a true addiction every day, like food for the soul, and also from various different speakers and live discussions. So very, very thankful to the back end, front end team, arranging speakers, to the technical team, to all of you who are hosting. All of us can just listen on mute, but you have to come on video and all those. So this is enriching our spiritual lives. And then, since I had this training presenting Bhagavad Gita to the teenagers from Bhakti Vinod Maharaj and other devotees. So we wanted to started to try to do that in Bhakti Sanga, and then slowly, Madhava class, and then we continue like that. So the way the kids take this up, it's very inspiring. Truly, like as a child is the father of the man. When they tell realizations, it's amazing, and I learn from that. So that way, it's both benefited by these classes. So yes, Mataji, thanks to you. Thanks to
Hari
everyone
Hari
for keeping.
Mataji, all glories to all of you, Mataji, except me, because it's only you yourself and Vinita Mataji, Preeti Mataji, Shamagori Mataji, Induleka Mataji, whoever. So everyone are hosting it very, very wonderfully, Mataji, and all the coordinators of Bhakti Sangha, all glories to all of them, Mataji. So, yeah, who told you about Bhakti Sangha? You said, Mataji, did you say, or I missed it, I think.
When I moved into Charlotte, it was not called Bhakti Sangha, but there was an online program that was running, and that I came to know through the local devotee Shama Gauri Mataji, and there were other
Okay.
devotees also in Charlotte and in other places in the East Coast. They were joining. So through that, we were very less at that time. No WhatsApp group also. So we just joined in. There is no Zoom, or we didn't know about Zoom. So it is a free conference call platform. So we just joined in like bunch of like 15 to 20 people, and every day there was someone assigned to give lecture. Then I remember we started WhatsApp group. Then it started from there, and all of you came and made it big.
Hari, wonderful, wonderful, Mataji. So that's really so. Thanks for being an inspiration on in Bhakti Sangha and being for such a. I think it's more than a decade that you're in Bhakti Sangha. So thank you for being here, and thank you for giving us your association, Mataji, on this platform. So, what would you like to say about Bhakti Sangha to improve it? Do you have anything to say, Mataji, after these many years? You want to
Thank you,
add?
Mataji. Thanks to your association also, and especially when you host the speakers, then you summarize what they say, and then that solidifies our understanding, and then you come up with very nice questions for the speakers to answer. So I'm thankful for your association. So Bhakti Sangha, let's keep continuing and improving. So there are so many things every day to improve, and the goal is to uh, make it devotee friendly, beginners friendly. So anyone who can join, they can start learning some things, and their bhakti will grow. So we always we can have a brainstorming session now and then to see how we can improve, and that way, spiritual life means unlimited improvement. So we can try that.
Nice. Yes, Mataji. So, yeah, actually, we should thank and we should be proud to have you here in Bhakti Sangha, because each and every, after the speaker finishes his class, we can see your poetry in the chat box. How did you get? How you're writing that poetry, Mataji? It's really very
I mean, you are very magnanimously
amazing.
calling it poetry, but yeah, it is just some inspiration that the speaker talks. It touches the heart, right? We have some questions, and that's getting
I
clarified.
think I should have introduced as Kavi of Bhakti Sangha.
Oh,
Our
no, no,
Grace.
no. No, 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 not at all. Just some rhyming words here and there, and that in strict sense, I don't know that can be called a poetry, but that's just inspiration from when they talk. It touches the heart, and it's inspired by the Lord to just tell some words of gratitude to them.
Hari bol, Mataji. Thank you, anyways. But really, we are relishing your association here on Bhakti Sangha, and
Me
keep
too,
giving us
Mataji.
your
Thank you.
association, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So with this, we can end our interview. Thank you, dear devotees, for watching this. Vancha kalpatrupesha kripa sindhupe vacha patithanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Her Grace Lalitangi Radha Mataji ki jai. Hare Krishna. Once again, for giving us your valuable time for this interview. Hare Bol.
Thank you, Mataji, for doing various services like book, a newsletter, and hosting, and so many other services, and your wonderful recipes in Jagannath Kitchen. Very traditional and modern, as well as so you're multi-talented devotee. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glories to all the devotees of Bhakti Sangha and to Guru Maharaj's. Hare Krishna.